Hi people, welcome to the next video. Today we're going to talk about acid and alkalis. And the learning objective of today is you are going to understand what are acid, alkali, and neutral matter. How do we test them? What happens when you mix acid with alkali, acid with metal, and acid with carbonate? Let's take a look. Can you name a few acid and base in your life? So pause the video for a second. Okay, here are the acid and base that happen in our life. So firstly, we have the lemon. Lemon are usually an acid. Bleach is usually a base as well. And here are some common laboratory alkalis that you can find in our lab one as well. So acid, they turn litmus paper red. So litmus paper is this kind of paper that has been coated with dye. So blue litmus paper gets red in an acid solution. So acid turns litmus paper red. Bleach, on the other hand, is alkalis. And alkali is usually a kind of base. So alkali is a base that gets dissolved in water. They turn litmus paper blue. So pink litmus paper will get blue in an alkali solution. Acid, they are on the 0 to 7 range of the pH scale. So here is my pH scale. There's two ways I can use it. I can either find out whether something is an acid or a base, and also I can compare two solutions. If they're both acid, I can compare how strong of an acid they are, and for base, I can compare how strong of a base they are. Base, they're on the 7 to 14 of the pH scale. Take a look at this pH scale. You can find out that the further away you are from 7, the stronger you are. So for example, for the acid solution, for the 0 and 6, they're both on the acid part, right? And 0 is further away from 7. Therefore, 0 is a stronger, if you have solution that has a pH of 0, then that is a stronger acid than the pH 6. Same thing happened with base. The further away from 7, then the bigger number, in this case, the bigger the number, the more alkaline the solution is. So 13 pH is larger than the pH 12. We also use this one called universal indicator to determine the pH of a solution. If you use this paper and you find out that it turns orange in your solution, then your solution probably has a pH 7. What happened to the solution that is exactly the 7? Well, that is a neutral solution. So usually it's exactly the 7 on the pH scale. We have some exciting reaction happens with acid and base. Firstly, acid, they react with metal, base, and carbonates. For 3 of this reaction, they will form a salt. The name of the salt is usually depends on the acid that you start with. For example, hydrochloric acid gives you chlorides. Sulfuric acid gives you sulfates. Nitric acid gives you nitrates. When acid reacts with metal, that gives you a salt and hydrogen. That's another byproduct that you will have. For example, magnesium is my metal. Sulfuric acid is my acid. That gives me my salt. Magnesium, remember, sulfuric gives you sulfate, right? So magnesium sulfate, and also byproduct hydrogen. So for all metals, when acid react with them, the salt will be different, but they will all form a hydrogen product. So that's one way you can test it out. Here's what it looks like. When acid react with base or alkaline solution, it will also form a salt, but this time it will also form water. So for example, hydrochloric acid react with sodium hydroxide, which is a base. The sodium will give you sodium and also chloride. Okay, and the solution will also give you water. So here's what it looks like. When acid react with carbonates, it will give you salt, water, and also forms a gas that is carbon dioxide. For example, in here I have sodium carbonate, which is a kind of carbonate. Hydrochloric acid is my acid. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to have calcium chloride and also water and carbon dioxide. I have a question. So if I have exactly the same amount of acid react with exactly the same amount of base, what is the pH of the end solution? Take a look at this. Some people probably know water has a neutral pH, which is 7. But usually this kind of salt will have a neutral pH as well. So if you take a look at the pH scale, if you have exactly the same acid and base, they react evenly and nothing was left, then your solution in the end should be neutral as well. Same thing happens with metal, carbonates. If you use up all your reactant, then your end solution should be neutral, which is kind of cool. Now let's test your knowledge. A solution's pH is 2, B solution a pH is 5. Which one is a stronger acid? Or which one is a stronger base? So firstly, you have to determine whether they're acid or base. And then you have to tell me which one is stronger. Pause the video for a second and look back on your note. Okay, so firstly, it is a 0 to 7 that gives you a range, that gives you an acid, so they're both acid. And since A is further away from 7, right? 5 is closer to 7 than 2. So A solution is further away from 7, so A is a stronger acid. Okay, question number 2. Sodium react with hydrochloric acid. What are the product? Pause the video for a second and think for yourself. So the product will give you sodium chloride and hydrogen, since it is a metal reacting with your acid. Thank you folks very much, and see you guys in class.